Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast. I'm your co-host, Bob Zarrell. With me, as always, is professional film critic Sean Patrick. Visit us at ihatecritics.net, everyone's a critic podcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handle is CriticsPod. You can listen to us at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Alexa, all your podcatchers. And if you give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, let us know you did it. We will, the next person to do it will get a copy of I Spit on Your Grave 4K Blu-ray anniversary edition. It's really cool packaging if you're into that sort of thing.
We're gonna have some new prizes coming up too, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and if that's why you're not giving us a review because you don't want I Spit on Your Grave, then we'll get you something else too once it's ready. Patreon.com/criticspod, the best way to help support the podcast, where you can listen to our I Spit on Your Grave episode along with our episode on Nirvana, Metallica, and the Beatles, and several more to come. Those music ones are exclusively on Patreon. I don't know if we'll ever release them to the regular feed, so if you want to hear those, patreon.com/criticspod. It also is the best way to help support the podcast. And then TeePublic, our TeePublic link at ihatecritics.net. Click on that link up in the right-hand corner, or go to teepublic.com and search CriticsPod. We also broadcast live on YouTube every Monday, Sunday, Tuesday, depending on the week. But we do post a link when we go live on our social media pages. All right. Do you want to start with the Critics' Choice stuff? I saw you post on the social media just now, or is that not ready yet?
It's mostly just previewing the Oscars tomorrow because the Oscar nominations come out tomorrow, and so I was just showing off, the fact that the Critics' Choice Awards are a pretty good barometer for what the Academy is going to choose. You can expect to hear, The Power of the Dog tomorrow, or maybe Tick, Tick, Boom. That's an outside chance. But yeah, that's basically why I shared that. The one I think tomorrow that is going to pop up, that is one of the leading lights of the Critics' Choice Awards, is Dune. Dune has been picking up awards very quietly on the guild circuit, and that's always been a strong barometer. And of course, we loved Dune at the Critics' Choice Awards, and I think that one could be a big surprise. And considering I like Dune, I don't mean this to denigrate Dune in any way, but it is the kind of movie that a lot of people like, and so it has that appeal that similar to the other popular favorites, I guess. So while there's a couple of movies like Belfast and West Side Story that could divide that audience of of movies that are down the middle, I guess you might want to say, in the leadership, Dune is the kind of movie that could slide right in between that and maybe be the one that takes everything.
The cool thing about Dune, though, is if that were the case, of those three, and granted I haven't seen the other two, but I will, but I can just tell. So I take this with a grain of salt, I suppose. But I don't see myself getting mad at Dune for winning anything. On a technical level alone, that movie deserves everything it gets. So, and I'm sure it'll be one of the leading nominations, period, just because of the technical aspect of it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So, and he's one of the finest directors working today, Denis Villeneuve. So I'm all for that, even if I didn't love it.
Gotta love it. He took two big blockbuster movies, and he hasn't compromised his vision at all.
Right. I still want him to go back to those smaller movies, though. He was the best. But that's okay. All right, then let's just jump right into the episode and start off with another technical marvel, Jackass Forever.
You want to know what a truly you marvel at is what the human penis is capable of.
Well, these guys are
that's really
50.
So there's a scene in this movie where Steve-O is completely nude. He's standing on a box outside, and they decide that the stunt is they're putting bees all over his penis. Just bees, just a beard of bees, a merkin of bees, if you will. And it is the stupidest thing I've seen in my life, but it is so entertaining. And the thing about the Jackass guys is that just the joy that they take in doing this to each other translates to the joy that we feel watching them do this to each other. It's just like you're watching a bunch of, college friends just continuously being college friends. Like they continue, the congeniality of it is really winning. As stupid as it all is, they keep coming up with these ways to hurt themselves that are very, very funny. But what it comes down to in Jackass Forever is just that you really like these people. There's nothing mean-spirited. Like, they don't go out of their way to single any one of them out as somebody who's constantly the butt of the joke. Everybody in the group is the butt of some kind of joke. Everybody's, getting hurt somehow. And it is so familial. And there's just nothing mean about it. And that's what people kind of lose about Jackass. They lose perspective of Jackass. They just think it's dumb comedy. But in the end, it's about the fact that it's funny and there's nothing mean about it, even as they're hurting each other.
Well, I mean, they get hurt, then they start laughing, and that's what. And I was one of the ones that didn't like it. I would badmouth Jackass for years without ever really truly watching it. And it really wasn't until the trailer of Jackass 3 where Bam, who I don't think he's in this one or in it very little, is just walking by with a cup of coffee and this giant hand smacks him. And it's the stupidest thing in the world. But it was just, even looking at this poster of Johnny Knoxville flying out of a cannon with wings on, it's dumb, but it's funny at the same time. And I think you're right, 100% right. You're capturing friends have a good time, and when you can capture that fun, and then it spreads to the audience, that's how you make this work. I mean, the whole thing to me is impressive. These are not young guys anymore. They're not just stupid college kids anymore. A lot of them are sober, so it's not like they can even go to pills to help them out with the pain.
Right.
So it's impressive. I appreciate what they do for us. I haven't seen it yet. I really want to. I will see it eventually. But I really just... It's not an easy movie to talk about because it's just like, remember when this happened? Remember when that happened? That's really all it is. Am I wrong, or is there a storyline through?
There's no story. No, there's no kind of story. When I first wrote about this, I wrote about this actually for you on your old website, and the review I wrote was basically, why are you reading a review of Jackass? And that was it. That was the entire, why are you reading a review of Jackass? But I don't really have anything to write about this movie. It's just funny. This is just funny. I know it's lowbrow. It's entirely lowbrow. There's just penises everywhere in this movie. It opens with like Chris Pontius's penis is the first thing you see, dressed up and painted like Godzilla and terrorizing his town, model town. That's the first thing you see in this ridiculous movie. There's a whole bit where one of them just drops his nutsack into this hole. It's a tiny little gym set. And Knoxville's got a drill with two little boxing gloves on it, and he's just boxing his nutsack. Why is that funny? I don't know, but it made me laugh uncontrollably.
So in the trailer, it looks like at one point they're sitting in a room with some meat on their lap, and there's a tiger. Is that
it's
real?
A bear.
A bear?
It's a bear. It's real. It's real.
Wow.
It's a lie detector. They had to make sure that Danger Aaron was going to tell the truth. So cover him in salmon and honey and send in a bear. He's going to have to tell the truth. But that was interesting. I was watching this YouTube video, and they were talking about part of the fun of they were talking a little bit about Jackass, just kind of an aside as to why Jackass is so much funnier than, say, a lot of the hardcore right-wing mean comedy in the world. And it's because Jackass isn't punching down at people. They're not making anybody the subject of the joke. There's this bit they did in a couple of the Jackass on the TV show and in one of the movies where they were just pranking golfers. And it's like, there's no protected class there. There's nobody getting hurt. It's just golfers, like assholes who are on the golf course on a weekend. Those people are fair game to make fun of. That's the thing. It's like these guys, if they're going to make somebody the butt of their joke, it's somebody who nobody thinks of as,
right.
as a protected class,
Right. I'm all for punching up.
Yeah.
That works for me. And what I like about this, we talked about Impractical Jokers. I absolutely love that TV show. I think it's on par with this. However, their movie, they didn't spend near as much time perfecting like they do here. Like, they really do take their time with these movies. I mean, they don't do them very often, so you definitely start to miss them after a while. It's just impressive what they do, and
that said, I'm glad this is the last one.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they could really go about hurting themselves in this way any more than they already have. It's good that they're stopping.
Yeah, it was already rough to watch the trailer and see those old guys doing that, but one last one was pleasant, and I appreciate that. And I'm gonna go let a dog out of the room real quick, otherwise you're gonna hear whimpering for the next 55 minutes or so. Hold on one second, everybody at home. That sounds is going to be more entertaining than Moonfall, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, that's not saying much, though. The Moonfall is the latest from Roland Emmerich, who had the nerve this week to actually speak out against superhero movies. He said they're ruining cinema. Really? Really, Roland? Really? Really? You're the guy to make that argument. Really? You and Scorsese, Roland. Yeah.
Well, you know what they're getting wrong is they're not hiring Roland Emmerich. They're hiring like real directors and taking them away from the true cinema. And instead of getting crappy superhero movies, we're getting decent, watchable ones, and I'd prefer crappy ones with good movies. But anyway.
Let's see. So Moonfall stars Halle Berry, sort of, because her character doesn't really have anything to do. She's the head of NASA. She wasn't the head of NASA when the movie started, but they flash forward and she's the head of NASA. But in the past, she and Patrick Wilson and another guy are on a mission, and the other guy gets killed by an alien, but nobody sees it but Patrick Wilson. He gets blamed, and he becomes one of those people whose movie character is defined by how they're broke, and they always have those bills facing up on the table that say past due or last notice, eviction, that kind of shit that stands in for a personality. And Patrick Wilson, this guy, what is it about Patrick Wilson that Hollywood is trying to do? It's like they're trying to make fetch happen. It's like Patrick Wilson's just not happening, guys. I'm sorry. And here he's not a bad actor, because I mean, he's been in movies that I like Little Children. His blank face is the perfect thing to kind of impress upon, make him an audience surrogate in that movie. It's great. But he is this charisma vacuum. He's just this empty space where a movie star should be. He's blandly handsome in the most blandly handsome fashion. And here he's cast in a role that is basically the Chris Pratt, Ryan Reynolds role, where he's got to be quippy and arrogant, and that's supposed to be charming. And all it does is just basically show you all the things that are wrong with the classic Ryan Reynolds, Chris Pratt role in this day and age, how that's not aging very well anymore. This is just empty. The whole thing is empty. The moon is empty, for that matter, which I'm not going to spoil it, but yeah, the moon is empty. They cast this guy, John Bradley, who I have no idea who this guy is. I have no idea where he came from. He plays the prototypical nerd, conspiracy theorist who is the one who uncovers the big thing about the moon being a superstructure thing, whatever. I don't know what he's doing here, but he's basically, call him Diet Josh Gad, is what we have here. And then for some reason, Donald Sutherland is in this movie. And it's like for a minute. Like, why did you hire Donald Sutherland? I know you want to work with Donald Sutherland and you hire him for anything. He's but giving him a minute and giving him this role is truly bizarre. He plays a former NASA mission commander who knows the secret about the moon because he learned it back in the moon landing in '69, and NASA's been covering it up ever since. And we meet him as Halle Berry is going to discover the secret of the moon in the NASA archives. And here's the scene. He's sitting at his desk. He pulls out a gun and lays it on the desk. He goes outside his office to meet with Halle Berry, have this very terse exchange, and he leaves immediately. Like they have this very angry exchange, and then he leaves immediately to go back to his office, and we never hear from him again. So basically, the idea here is he just went back to his office and blew his fucking brains out. That's basically what we're to take away from this. Donald Sutherland is here for 1 minute to argue with Halle Berry and then shoot himself in the head, which I guess maybe that's kind of an apt metaphor for how you feel about making this fucking movie.
But show it. I mean, I don't know. Not that I want to see. I don't know. But I mean, the audience for this movie probably doesn't know that he went and blew his head off. They're just wondering where he went. So I don't know.
He's not enough of a character in the movie for anybody to care where he went.
Yeah, and the audience probably doesn't even know who he is either.
Right? Most people don't even know who Donald Sutherland is anymore, which is sad. Because
Right.
Donald Sutherland's amazing. It's frustrating. This movie is frustrating. It just has everything that, like, all the Independence Day tropes, all the end of the world movie tropes, everything from 2012 and Independence Day, and it's so boring. And this guy's got the nerve to call out comic book movies. I would rather watch Thor: The Dark World than watch 2 seconds of this.
Yeah. It's amazing we ever thought Independence Day was good.
It gets worse the further you get away from it.
Yep. Let's start getting away from Moonfall. The Long Night. Why you watch this one? I'm amazed.
Why is that?
Only because of I looked at the cast and the throwaway horror movies these people do every 4 or 5 a year. We never talk about them. I assume this is one of them.
It is, yes. But you can see that poster is kind of intriguing.
I do like the poster.
It's a neat poster. It looks like a Rob Zombie album cover. Like I'm curious, Then
Well, and the cast has Rob Zombie alums. So, but yeah, they don't do much.
Doing a diet Rob Zombie movie. This is a story about a couple who ends up at a plantation in the South, the middle of nowhere. She's the lead actress, Scout Taylor Compton, is going there to try and find out some secrets about her parents who she never knew. They arrive. Their caretaker isn't there. The guy who's supposed to answer her questions isn't there. But a character played by Jeff Fahey shows up out of nowhere, and he thinks they've murdered the caretaker, and they do find the caretaker's body, which we kind of knew was going to be there because there's this terrible smell in the house. Like, what the fuck do you think it is? But the couple never found it because they're not characters really. They're just sort of placeholders for all this nonsense to occur about the strangers showing up outside in these ludicrous masks. These people show up outside the plantation. They won't come in. They stand outside looking ominous in their masks. And then when Jeff Fahey goes to confront them because he thinks that they're the ones who killed his friend, they use their mind powers to break all the bones in his body. And then you're like, well, why don't you just do that to the couple in the house then? If that's what this is about. If you're that overpowered, then what's the point of keeping them alive? And the point is that they're related to her parents or whatever, and they need her for something, but they don't need the boyfriend. Kill him. Use your little mind power to kill him then. Why leave anybody alive? Why are you waiting? Why are you standing outside? You're ridiculously overpowered. You can break someone's bones with just moving your hand. So why do you need any of this scheme that you're putting us through for 90 minutes? And that's really what the point of this is just once you reveal that they have this ridiculous power and then they don't use it, you're just basically going, why aren't they using their stupid powers? The movie's over.
You right away, you go find one of those HorrorCon actors, kill him off early on, and now you have like that Drew Barrymore scene, a light version of that, the diet version of that, but still, you knocked off someone at the horror convention where you got the rest of your actors, and you start to kind of buy into what maybe you could buy into it as a small little indie horror movie, but I mean. I was intrigued when you put it on here. I thought maybe that there's a shot it's good. I can't imagine. I mean, Jeff Fahey alone is not that there's anything wrong with him, but he hasn't really been relevant in a long time. And even when he was in a lot of movies like this anyway. And Jamie Lee Curtis Light was, I don't know. I cool poster.
Yeah.
But I almost
doesn't live up to that.
I'd almost rather these characters be killers of like the violent as opposed to just using their minds, but like, overpower you with their strength would be cooler.
They're trying to bring back some demon, and it's like, when you've got this kind of unlimited power, why the fuck do you need your fucking demon for? Like, and the movie doesn't bother to try and explain that.
But that's the problem with every movie like this. It's like a movie like The Strangers. What they got right is they just stuck with the lane they were in, and they didn't try to add in supernatural shit or anything else. It was just they were fucking with these people. They made it work. They didn't, it was simple. This are trying to throw like 3 or 4 things into it, and yeah, you wonder why no one else will hear about this movie after we flip by it here in a second.
Yeah.
Poly Styrene, I Am a Cliche.
Yes, so this is a terrific documentary about the lead singer of a band called X-Ray Spex, a punk band in the late 70s, early 80s of England. She was a trailblazer, Poly Styrene. She, not a real name, obviously, but that's the name she gave herself, and as a way of commenting on the plastic nature of celebrity and stardom and image making, and she was only 19 at the time, and so some of her observations can be a little shallow, but that's punk music in general is kind of a little shallow. It's really just about the moment, and in the moment she was a real superstar. The movie is kind of dealing with her legacy as a mixed race woman leading a punk band in a time when mixed race women aren't necessarily out front of a punk band. It's kind of an unusual spot. And that's one of many interesting aspects. She was there for the entirety of the boom of punk rock. She knew everybody in punk rock and was part of their circles. And she had a very unusual journey. She left the band right before they were about to actually maybe break through into the mainstream for the first time. She left right before that and joined the Hare Krishna and had a child and raised her child in that rather bizarre church for a time before she left that. She was bipolar at a time when nobody knew what bipolar was, so they called her schizophrenic and tried to have her committed. And that obviously fucked with her head a great deal, and it cost her a number of years of her relationship with her daughter, who Celeste Bell, who co-directed the film. And this is part of her journey as well, and coming to terms with who her mother was, with all the aspects of her, the frightening aspects and the aspects of her public life, how she belonged to into the memories of so many other people. In that way, it's rather wonderful. Ruth Negga from Passing plays the voice of Poly Styrene, and you can kind of go, yeah, I mean, where's that movie with her playing this character? Because that'd be really great.
Yeah,
this is a good movie.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting. I love documentaries about that old, especially that scene of music. That time was so interesting. And being a lesser known part of that time too is even cooler. It just looks really awesome. I look forward to seeing it. The Other Me, is that the right poster? I hope
that is the right. Yes, Jim Sturgis starring in this, along with Nicola Pejic, who is a trans woman. And the story here is about 2 people who are essentially maybe they're the same person at different points in life. He's a bartender who wishes to be an architect, but he loses that opportunity when he finds out he has a degenerative eye disease that's going to render him blind very soon. Meanwhile, he meets this woman who, when he meets her, she's a woman. She doesn't have a name. They don't give her a name in the movie. But when he meets her, he can see. And hints are sort of dropped throughout that perhaps he and her are the same. They have the same childhood, the same parents, and that the whole thing is sort of dreamlike, and that perhaps his real journey isn't from wanting to be an architect, from being a bartender to wanting to be an architect. His real journey is from being a man to finding out that he's actually a woman. And it's not like I'm going blunt force on the trans metaphor here of the other me, and the movie is not that blunt. It's very dreamlike. It's very some will consider it obtuse, which is fair because it's definitely toying with a lot of bigger ideas. It's about sexual identity, and it's about confusion over gender identity and sexual identity, and people trying to figure out who they are. He's married to a woman named Nutsa, who herself is having an affair with his boss at the bar, but she's also kind of having this intimate relationship on an intellectual level with her boss, another woman, and kind of perhaps exploring something there in her sexual identity that she wasn't aware of before. And like I said, there's a lot of elements here. There's a lot of depth. There's a lot to read into. And this is of course, it says David Lynch presents. So this is certainly something in his tradition. Giga Egladze is the director here, and he directs this with some soft Lynch, if you will. This is not dark in any way. This is a movie that is just sort of, like I said, dreamlike and bleary, and I could be completely wrong about what I'm reading into it, but I'm reading it nevertheless, mostly because Nicola Pajic is a trans woman and is a character without a name. And like I said, we're talking the metaphor here, a guy going from he's going blind to suddenly he can see when he's in the presence of this person. Like that the notes are there to get to the metaphor that I'm getting to, and I really love how it gets there.
Yeah, this is like the diet episode of the podcast. Is it homework to watch, or does it play pretty smooth?
It can be a little bit hard if you're not paying full attention. If you're not giving it everything, you can get kind of lost in it because there's a lot of dream rules, like there's a lot of dreamy imagery in it, and if you aren't paying close enough attention, you might miss the metaphors at play.
You got to put the work in. It's not like it's going to pull you in, and you gotta get out. Gotcha.
That said, I do recommend it. I really like it a lot.
Awesome. Air.The.
Air.The is a 2009 movie that's getting its first American release. It's directed by Kurita Hirokazu, who got a lot of attention a couple of years ago with his movie Shoplifters. This is one of his first films, and it's about a blow-up sex doll who comes to life. She as she puts it, she found a heart, and with that heart, she brought herself to life. You can't question why this happens. It just does. And then she just sort of goes out into the world. All she has is these fetish outfits that her owner, Hideo, has given her. And she wanders out into the world wearing this maid costume. And she ends up going to a video store where she finds a job. And she meets this guy, Junichi, who's this very shy clerk who certainly they immediately seem to have an emotional connection right away. But she can't explore that, obviously, because she doesn't want him to know who she really is. And where it goes from there is just, again, kind of dreamlike, kind of weird. She has a lot of questions about the world, and she asks them in this very naive and sweet and childlike way. And this could tip over into parody. It could tip over into exploitation even, because there's a lot of nudity in the movie and sex in the movie. And So there's elements of that are right on the edge, but I think this movie really walks that line rather brilliantly by just being so empathetic and being so beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. She's a beautiful woman who you really, I mean, you're with her the whole way. You're just so much on her side, and you're so worried about her. And then you will love the ending of this movie, Bob. That's all I'm going to say. You'll love the ending of this movie.
She pops
because of all that came before it. It's so sweet and kind of innocent, and yet also like very naked and sexual. But then something happens at the end of this movie that just blows your fucking mind. I highly recommend you see this.
I plan on it. I didn't start looking for movies to watch till last night. I wasn't in a position where I could pay enough attention to actually read and go. But now I'm even more intrigued than I was before. I will say I walked in on my son watching a Korean kids show. So he was actually reading the subtitles, and it was something about, I think it was Korean. He said it was Korean. I wasn't paying enough attention to know. Something about like a student. I don't know. It was, he liked it. Spent 2 hours. So it was like, and he just watched the Hunger Games. So I'm like, maybe it's time to bring Battle Royale or Martyrs or something else he has to read, and not Martyrs.
Yeah.
Not Korean either, but Ichi the Killer.
Yeah, there you go. Ichi the Killer is perfect.
It's cartoony enough. But no, you have me even more intrigued now that it's right up my alley. I can only imagine. I don't even want to try to imagine. I want to find out on my own.
Absolutely. I highly recommend it. This movie is really good. It's really, really good. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's one of those movies that's just taking big swings, and it just happens to be that it's nailing it for the most part. You can see this movie go very, very wrong, and I understand people who see this movie as having gone very, very wrong. There are elements of this that could very well be offensive if you're in the wrong mood while you're watching it, and you could see it as, like I said, exploitational or just kind of pornographic to a point, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I just want to pause and go watch it and come back and finish the show. But we'll have to do that another time. Let's move on to, I did get caught up on Nightmare Alley. It's now on Hulu, I believe. So if you want to watch it, one of the best movies of last year. I highly recommend it. But
you loved it?
Oh, it was so much, just so smart. And I knew where it was going just because, you could tell it has that Twilight Zone vibe where you just know it, where it's going. And then even when listening to you review it and, the horror that when he gets to that moment that you talk about, it's coming the whole time. And you can even kind of predict when it's going to come, and it still doesn't matter. It's so... Guillermo del Toro loves the subject matter. He loves these type of movies. He almost makes them they're adult, but like told for a child could watch it and understand it. It's so you have that watchable factor to it. You got like one of the most remarkable casts that you could possibly have. Everything about it is it is a phenomenal movie. I love Guillermo del Toro. Especially lately, he has his ups and downs, but it's been a lot of ups in a row here. So I'm kind of excited to see where he goes next. But this is just absolutely should be watched by everybody. It's that good.
It is it is incredible, really. And I think the name you'll hear tomorrow for sure is Bradley Cooper, and it absolutely deserved a Best Actor nomination. He earns it. He's so great in this movie. He holds the center of attention in the movie, and he does this amazing. He's not an anti-hero. He's not necessarily the villain. He's kind of villainous, but he just embodies so many different aspects it's very much like a 1940s kind of movie,
Right.
And I'm trying to think of a good actor who would compare with him, not Jimmy Stewart, but maybe like a Clark Gable kind of could play a role like this, like that's the kind of thing that he's pulling off here and pulling off extraordinarily well. It's moral ambiguity and willingness to, cheat the system as much as he can, and
he's almost victim.
Yeah, kind of.
He gets victimized into becoming a villain. He gets just tricked by his own. I don't know. He gets so obsessed with what he's doing.
He was warned, though, and Toni Collette is so great about the way she just kind of layers that in there so beautifully. Her and Strathairn have both kind of told him, like, there's a line. If you cross that line, there's no coming back from it. And I love that. I loved it. I love that so much. And then Rooney Mara, and they make some just big choices. Cate Blanchett is incredible. The chemistry with her and Bradley Cooper is just straight fire. It is just, those scenes are hot.
Well, and even like little side characters like Mary Steenburgen is just like, when you were talking about the Donald Sutherland scene out, that's immediately popped in my head. Every piece of this movie is fantastic. And I don't know. I love Toni Collette. She is like, the way we talk about Nicolas Cage is really like, that's her to a T, only even but better decisions. That makes sense. It's just her. She is so great in this. Really everybody is, and Bradley Cooper will probably get. I think his name being mentioned is him getting it with everybody else in mind. It's one of those kind of, we can't nominate everybody, so we're going to throw them all behind you. And that happens, and there's nothing wrong. He's fantastic too. It's
so great.
But
then I would absolutely, like, if you could allow me to just nominate somebody, just stick them right in there for just one scene. Tim Blake Nelson, that final scene, he is so fucking great in that scene. Oh my God, he's so good. Just the way that scene plays, and just it's like the blood is rushing out of your body. You're just deflated watching this scene, and the way he's playing it, and Cooper opposite him is just, it's gorgeous.
That is like easily the best scene in the movie, and the movie has a million great scenes because Bradley Cooper giving it back. Those two right there is, he's a different character than he was even 5 minutes ago in the movie. The way he evolves from the beginning to the end is, this is where you get those cliche, descriptions of, just cliche adjectives of tour de force, blah, blah, blah. But that's what a role like this is where you really do it all in one role and without being distracting or, lessening the movie. It really is just amazing. And, I just love it. So yeah, I'm glad I finally got a chance to see it, and I wish I'd have watched it in black and white too. I could have seen that being really cool because I know they re-released it like that. But highly recommend. In terms of like the mainstream watchable, like, left to center, not quite a blockbuster, but kind of more not full on indie either. This is like as good as it got last year as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Where would you, if you had to go back and redo your top 10, where would you drop it?
That's the problem. I feel like every time I do the top 10, it'd be different. Probably right in the middle, like 5, 4 or 5.
Oh, where I had it.
Yeah. Only because there's so many great, just wholly original indie ideas that came out last year, and this being the best. But this is very much a Twilight Zone type story, but Guillermo del Toro blew it up and just made it beautiful. And so it's so hard to say what's better or worse, but this is right up there with anything. But I still, because of superhero movies and stuff, I'm more drawn to those smaller movies right now. But this is the type of movie that brings me back. This Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, those type of movies that are still awesome in the director's full vision. Dune even is what gives me hope. That keeps me still liking movies like this and wanting to go back to the theater as opposed to just watching Lamb all day long. All right. Capricorn One, inspired by Moonfall.
Yeah. And boy, is that appropriate.
This is such a old man movie.
It really is. It's the ultimate dad movie. Capricorn One is a 1970-something action thriller about faking a trip to Mars. They're actually on the launch pad, ready to launch this mission to Mars. James Brolin, Sam Waterston, and O.J. fucking Simpson. Then they get pulled out at the last second and like, what the fuck is going on? They get taken from the launch pad and taken to this place far away from the launch pad where they're put in a room, and Hal Holbrook comes in and tells them, well, this wasn't going to work. It was going to be really embarrassing and you guys were going to die. But we're going to also lose our funding if we don't do something. So we're going to fake this. And if you don't go along with it, we're going to kill your families. They do go along with it, but James Brolin kind of drops in a few hints here and there. So a reporter played by Elliot Gould kind of picks up on what's going on, that maybe this whole thing had been faked. And that's the movie, I guess. The astronauts managed to escape because they were actually going to kill him as opposed to just bring him back and pretend like they just had their mission because they couldn't trust him. They were going to kill everybody who knew they faked it. So they end up getting away. Whatever happens to them, blah, blah, blah. This movie has some potential. There's some stuff that could work here, but it kind of just gets bogged down in a lot of other ideas. Telly Savalas shows up at one point and you're like, what the fuck is Telly Savalas doing here? Telly Savalas, by the way, who plays a pilot in a movie, he hates to fly. Telly Savalas hates to fly. Why did you take a role as a pilot then? Kind of a dumb idea. Elliot Gould's fine. He's really charming. But Sam Waterston's the best of the astronaut group. He's kind of doing his own thing. James Brolin is a truly boring actor playing another boring performance. He's a TV actor in a movie, and OJ is OJ. Fuck OJ.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought this would be fun. I just thought space movie, and I don't know, some people I know were talking about it like a couple weeks ago and how they loved it. And I thought, all right, let's see.
There's nothing wrong with the movie. It's just, when Roland Emmerich says superhero movies ruin cinema, this is what he ruined. These movies don't exist anymore. Either that or because when they try to exist, it's Bruce Willis go, no, we're going to shoot this, and this. It's going to be a Bruce Willis movie. These are the movies that are gone. and there's nothing wrong with them, but they're also so kind of goofy that it's just like, you could not pay attention to the whole time and then turn it, watch the end where James Brolin and Elliot Gould come walking into the room, and it's like watching the Royal Rumble or something like that. You don't have to watch the whole thing; you just need to see the end of it.
You're like the freeze frame ending, like such a stupid 70s thing. Like the best part of the movie is right there. Like watching Hal Holbrook twist in the wind is going to be far more entertaining than anything we've seen so far. And then they go, nope, freeze frame, movie's over. Imagine what would have happened.
Well, at one point, it looks like Elliot Gould dies, and then he's not dead.
How did these guys not kill just one reporter who's very obviously everywhere, like easy to find? You got to his car, he survived that, you shot at him and then just gave up shooting at him. Like, he's not a hard guy to kill. He goes right to where you want him to be to kill him. Just kill him
over and over again. Yeah.
And remains just completely flippant and disinterested. He's been murdered like twice in this movie. And he's like, he's very calm about this.
And you don't even like really even buy into why they're doing what they're doing. You know, it's just kind of like, yeah, you know, they like the whole we're gonna lose funding thing. I mean, I don't know, that it's just kind of weak. It seems too super villainy for the government.
Which is funny because NASA helped them do this, even though NASA was the villains. Like they helped with all the research and the vehicles that they gave them for the movie, and they're like, you guys are the villains."
I'm sure this was a great action movie in the time. It certainly doesn't hold up.
No,
but it was kind of, in a way, it was kind of fun to watch because it was definitely something that. I'm surprised I haven't seen it, if I'm being honest. I've seen movies like this over and over again that my dad would watch all the time. So it's practically, you know, you knew where it was going to what was going to happen and where it was going to go from the second the movie started. When you described it last week, I knew where it was going to go. But
it is. I think the most interesting thing about the movie is between. Like, it was less than a decade after the moon landing, and we were already jaded assholes, apparently, about going to the moon. We turned into complete pricks about the most amazing moment in human history. Less than a decade later, we're like fucking children. We really are. We can't be entertained by anything. We went to the moon, and now it's like, fuck it. We went to the moon, whatever. A decade later, we're over it already.
Well,
fucking defund NASA. I don't care.
It's movies like this and other ones from that era that planted the seeds of, you know, government conspiracies and this and that. And now they're in full bloom thanks to movies like this. So thank you, Capricorn One. But yeah, that is our...
There are moments, like you said, like there are moments so they're kind of like Karen Black and Elliot Gould going back and forth. That was kind of funny. They're flirting, but it's like, you know, people are trying to murder you, Elliot Gould. Maybe you should be more concerned about that.
Right.
Like they just planted cocaine on you and arrested you. Maybe you should be a little unnerved right now.
Yeah, I feel like most of the time when I see this movie, it's Robert Redford in the Elliot Gould role.
Like you're never reacting to anything that ever happens to him,
right? And just, you know, I don't know, but yeah, it's I can knock it off the bucket list that wasn't on, but I can now say I've seen it.
Same. I'd never seen it before, so it was so out of my memory that I didn't remember that fucking OJ's in it.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke. Next week, we're going to do a Bill Cosby movie. Yeah, because when we were watching that, I was like, oh, I kind of want to see some of these old movies. And I'm like, wait, we can't. That's a horrible idea. Yeah, I mean, I spent most of the week watching TV shows. Did
you watch?
Well, I started Pam and Tommy, and it's not that it was bad. I just didn't care after a while, if that makes sense. I got bored. I don't know if I'm going to go back.
I got through 3 episodes and I quit.
I fell asleep during the third one, and I was like, I don't really feel like I missed anything. And I probably would have been interested if they would have done a nice movie version of it with that cast and that director, even if it didn't make a difference that it existed. There's just too much going on, and
that's an interesting point. You know, like Hulu and Netflix seem to be doing this thing where they're taking like ideas that might make a good movie and dragging them out to series length to get more, you know, eyeballs and hours. Like that you told me about this Kristen Bell show that's on Netflix. That's like supposed to be a parody of the Woman in the Window or the Lady on the Train. And it's like they've stretched it out to 9 episodes and they've like completely flattened out the comedy of it.
Did you see it or no?
I watched somebody else talk about it because I didn't want to bother with watching a fucking series, and like I got the strong impression that it's just the lengthening it out to 9 episodes just basically robbed the premise of any energy that it might have.
Well, it was oddly enough, I was able to actually watch all 9 episodes in like 2 days. I mean, it did hold my interest. But the intent is very weird. I mean, it's a full-blown thriller. It's not really a parody.
The title's clearly a parody.
Yes. It's almost like they're trying to make The Room. Because Kristen, like they're Kristen Bell just keep going, am I doing a bad enough job yet? And they're like, you just be as serious as you can. And so there's elements of parody there but I don't know. It kind of works, but I don't know. It's hard to say. You couldn't make too many of these movies because after a while the idea dies quickly. It's not a full-blown parody. It's just a really bad acting in this serious drama, which kind of makes it funny.
The title is clear. Like, for everything I saw, the clear intent was parody.
When you watch it, it's not a parody at all. You know, it's not Anna Faris. It's Tommy Wiseau. I'm not even. And they pull off what they're trying to do. And I mean, even the twist at the end is so absurd, but it's believable enough. Like, I'll just kind of spoil a little bit of it. I won't spoil it all the way, but basically at some point every character comes out and is like the bad guy. Like they go down the rabbit hole but they play it so serious that you're kind of laughing when they do it. The problem is, like you said, it's 9 episodes, so it does kind of, you're not laughing hard because you're just kind of chuckling. And so it's, and then there's just these weird sex scenes that are just like randomly thrown in throughout, especially in one episode. It's just, I don't know. I can't recommend seeing it. It's more the idea that's funny than the movie itself, or the show. But I do think they accomplished what they're going for, but it's still not worth. I don't know that they're going for anything that great. So it's, they're tricking you into thinking it's a parody, but it's really a thriller. But really, it's a bad movie inside of a thriller, and it is. So I mean, I don't know that anybody wants to see.
So wait,
that.
Is there like a show within a show element to it, or?
No, it's just intentionally bad acting. It's not. You know how you like to laugh at the people as opposed to them doing it on purpose. This is probably the one example where they do it on purpose and it works. It's just that the idea isn't fresh enough that it's worth watching.
Sounds annoying.
Yeah. And especially when you watch a lot of things, it's just a waste of you specifically, it'd be a waste of your time. There's no reason for you to watch this.
That's why I watched Amanda the Jedi review it. Because I don't want to watch the whole thing.
Think of the movies they're parodying. It's like, why would you even care about those movies to begin with? You know,
right?
From the I just like Kristen Bell a lot, and she hasn't really done anything in a long time, so I was curious. And my wife wanted to see it, and next thing you knew, we were 9 episodes in. 1992, Mississippi Masala, Final Analysis, and Medicine Man. Did you watch any of those?
Yeah, I forgot to watch Medicine Man. Damn it. I meant to watch Medicine Man. I never found time.
That's all right. Next week, we got Blacklight, Death on the Nile. If we're really feeling froggy, Marry Me. It's on Peacock if you want to watch that with us. There's a movie called The Sky is Everywhere on Apple. Big Bug on Netflix. We're definitely watching that. I Want You Back on one of these networks. The In-Between. Kimmy on HBO Max. Also Belfast and Red Rocket come out. I should probably watch those at some point. Because of Big Bug. Who's it? What's that director's name? Jean-Pierre Jeunet. We're going to watch A Very Long Engagement. I haven't seen that one, but I'm enjoying knocking off all the movies I haven't seen of his, and this one appears to be the best of all of them, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then 92 Wayne's World turns 30, so that'll be a fun, not that I'm going to watch it again, but
I'm definitely going to watch it again. I'm excited to see it again. I just read a great interview with Penelope Spheris talking about the 30th anniversary and telling stories about it. And, it was fun to revisit that.
I love her, and I hate hearing the horror stories of work with Michael Myers, even though he ended up being right a couple times. It's still, you want to hear that it went smoothly, but I love the movie, and hopefully I have time to watch it. Let's see. A little bit of flick chart before we call it an episode. Let's do it. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, The English Patient.
Jesus. Talk about homework. Which 3-hour epic are you watching?
I'm watching Lord of the Rings, probably.
Yeah, all right. That's fine.
Singing in the Rain, Big Top Pee-wee.
Singing in the Rain.
Yeah. Gone in 60 Seconds, X-Files, I Want to Believe.
Gone in 60 Seconds is bad. But X-Files is a great... I don't know. It's like Gone in 60 Seconds is fun just for how stupid it is, and Nicolas Cage is always entertaining. X-Files is like a competently made movie that's kind of good. So I don't know where to go on that one, honestly.
And I haven't watched either one of them, so I can flip a coin for you if you want.
Sure.
It's Gone in 60 Seconds. I mean, if I had to watch one right now, just for the Nicolas Cage element, I'm going to go Gone in 60 Seconds. That, and I've never really watched anything X-Files, so I don't know if I'd know what's going on. So there's that, too. Spider-Man Far From Home, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Crouching Tiger.
Yeah. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, Puss in Boots.
Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Yeah. I'd rather go back to my teenage years than my parenting years. Les Mis or Knowing?
Les Mis. All the way.
One of your favorites or one of your least favorites? The Interpreter, Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep.
Yeah. Roxanne.
Didn't quite. Yeah, Bubba Hotep didn't quite work, but it works better than The Interpreter.
Yeah. Bubba Hotep is one of those ideas that are better than the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I like watching it for like half an hour, and then I'm like, I don't want to finish this.
Yeah, that's a good description of it.
Roxanne, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Roxanne.
Yeah. Coach Carter, The Shining.
The Shining.
Absolutely. Alien 3, 7 pounds.
7 pounds.
I don't really care. Avengers Infinity War, A History of Violence.
A History of Violence.
Yeah.
Great movie.
The Icicle Thief? Or The Wolverine?
Never heard of The Icicle Thief.
Neither have I. The Vanishing, The Wolverine.
I've not seen that version of The Vanishing, I don't think.
I have not either. One Floor of the Cuckoo's Nest, The Wolverine.
Yes, that one. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I want that poster, too, for that.
No kidding. I've never seen that before.
That was a cool
amazing.
poster, right? 1940s Jack Nicholson. That's great.
Rebel Without a Cause, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Crouching Tiger, but I like Rebel Without a Cause. I think it's a good movie.
I do too, but Crouching Tiger is fantastic. Tangled or Ray?
Tangled.
I know Ray is not good, but I do like the performance. I'll flip it. Always the one that no one cares about. Dr. Doolittle, The Man with One Red Shoe.
The Man with One Red Shoe. Dr. Doolittle's unwatchable. Either any version of Dr. Doolittle is unwatchable. That was the Eddie Murphy version.
Yeah, Lost in Translation, Finding Neverland.
I do love Finding Neverland, but it's no contest. It's Lost in Translation.
Yeah. The Wedding Singer, Short Circuit.
What do you prefer?
I hate Short Circuit more than anything. So I'll go with Wedding
Fair enough.
Singer.
Go with the Wedding Singer. That's fine.
The Fast and the Furious, The Holiday.
Fast and the Furious.
I don't give two shits, so that's fine. A Walk to Remember, Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. Love it.
Absolutely. Super 8, Mars Attacks.
Super 8.
It's fine. Ex Machina, the law-abiding citizen.
Oh, Ex Machina by a lot.
Yeah.
Law-abiding citizen sucks.
Fences, identity.
Oh, I don't even like Fences, and it's still better than Identity.
I thought I liked Identity. What was that one?
Identity is the one where it's all in one guy's head.
Oh, maybe not.
Spoiler alert.
I think I'm thinking of something else. I'll go with you. There's one with... it wasn't Identity. Now I know. Oh, this is great. Spice World, Midnight Cowboy. Sean is laughing so hard you guys can't even hear him because the volume is distorted. I mean, if you had to put one in right now, you're putting in Spice World, are you not?
Yeah, probably, because Midnight Cowboy is just so dreary.
Yeah.
And Spice World's only like 80 minutes, so I mean, and that wins.
Absolutely. The Man Who Wasn't There, MASH.
The Man Who Wasn't There. Desperately underrated movie.
Absolutely. I've never actually seen MASH, though.
Oh, you got to see it. It's awesome.
Someday. Bonnie and Clyde, The Devil's Rejects. I'm curious where you go with this one because you hate Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, let's flip it. I'm going to lose because I want to win this one. I'll be goddamned.
Hey, you won one. All right.
Never. But rarely does Devil Rejects pop up here. What the fuck?
I've never seen Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS. I thought that was porn.
With the swastika behind it. Monty Python and the Holy Grail or Identity. That's easy.
Monty Python.
Loose in London, That Touch of Mink. 2 movies I have not seen.
Skip them both. I'm sure I've seen That Touch of Mink because my mom saw every Cary Grant movie, but I don't remember it.
Oh, this is awesome for me.
God fucking Christ.
Armageddon or Sphere.
Jesus Christ. Be a pile of dog shit instead. I'll put that in my DVD player.
Used to just ruin it.
It would be better than subjecting my player to this. To either of these fucking movies.
I love hearing it. Why Armageddon? The hatred. I know it's bad, but like your level of hatred for it. I mean, it knows it's a bad movie. Jerry Bruckheimer knew it was bad, and Affleck knows it's bad.
It's so loud and so stupid. I saw it at the Moline Theater in '98 when it came out. And I was just so angry. It was so loud and incomprehensible, and the characters were so obnoxious. Those characters are so obnoxious. Like every one of the supporting characters, I just hated them all so much. And then that sound design, which is, I'm probably still recovering my hearing from that piece of shit fucking movie. So on top of it, I'm in pain. It's bad. The characters are obnoxious. It's ruining Ben Affleck, who I love. I mean, what is there to like about that?
What's even worse, which I never really even thought about. Well, I guess I've thought about it, but now that you're talking, I'm a big Aerosmith fan. I can no longer see them in concert without them playing the song. And prior to this, I could see them without playing that song. And that song's not very good.
It's a shitty song.
You know, we used to... I think we had a conversation offline once about what it takes and how bad that is. And this is basically just what it takes. It's the band's not doing anything, and Steven Tyler is singing. And I'd rather hear the band do stuff. The other song on the soundtrack that you don't ever really get to hear is way better than that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just. And Sphere is not even worth talking about. That's the other part.
Yeah. That was Dustin Hoffman. What do you
Yeah.
Enough said.
Well, we won't give either one of them the luxury of picking them. Iron Man 3 or Rocky Balboa?
Iron Man 3.
I don't actually care, but I will flip it. I do like Rocky Balboa, but Iron Man 3 is also awesome. And Iron Man 3 it is. The Jerk Juno.
I have a lot of love for The Jerk, but Juno all the way.
Absolutely. The Brady Bunch movie, The Watchmen.
Fuck. I don't think the Brady Bunch movie pulled off what they wanted to with it. Like, the whole idea is that the Brady Bunch, even in their own time, they were fucking weird. Like, even in the actual 1970s, they were a fucking weird show, and taking them into the 90s just kind of takes that joke to a very obvious place.
Right.
So Watchmen at least is ambitious, so let's go with that.
What don't you like about The Watchmen, just out of curiosity? Were you a fan of the graphic novel, or not really even paid attention to it?
Not real. I mean, the graphic novel's fine. It's just overly long and ponderous. The look of it is bad. Patrick Wilson is, again, a vacuum, a charisma vacuum, and having him as the sort of Batman character is just dreary. And it's so hateful of superheroes. Like, it just doesn't even seem, there's no joy, zero joy in the movie. And I'm not saying every movie has to have joy, but like, there has to be something that people enjoy in the world, isn't there? It can't all be bleak all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, while I liked it, and when I read the graphic novel, I liked that as well, I also have never gone back and watched it again, because it's kind of homework in a lot of ways.
You know, but Steven Soderbergh would probably find Watchmen to be his favorite superhero movie. Did you hear what he said this week?
No.
He doesn't like Marvel movies because nobody fucks. There's no fucking in Marvel movies. Why don't they fuck? All these beautiful people, nobody fucks. Thank you, Steven. You really added something to the discourse. We appreciate it.
I mean, they're already long enough.